Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I'm here with Joe Corallo. How you doing?
I think I'm all right, Perch. How are you?
Well, it's what a time to be alive. We have the DC universe opening up titles to fans, and much like the linear verse, this is going to be exciting.
When is it going to be exciting?
Well, the benefits of the linear verse is that things take a long time. So
Right.
a long time. Um, you've talked about this. I've talked about this. We've talked about this together in other places. Now we're coming to the end of the first round, and did you under? So did the first round make sense? Did you vote in the first round? I guess is my first question.
Here's the thing. I voted with no real information or interest.
Well, that's okay because you're getting the information in round two.
That's a terrible time to drop the
Yeah.
information. I voted on these stories where we got about a paragraph of information
Yeah.
on each without a creative team, which is vital to these. A Chip Zdarsky Etta Candy is a lot different than a Brian Azzarello Etta Candy. And these are things that anyone who cares about your company would like to know.
Yes. I don't know if you noticed this, but obviously the voting happened. And by the way, to your other question, I think the interest comes in round 3 or 4. So,
well, considering this initial tweet got 2,336 likes almost a week later, which is less than Donny Cates gets for "You won't believe what Marvel let me do in this next script of Venom" tweets. It's not good.
to be fair, Donny Cates said it would be bonkers.
Right. It was going to be. I didn't realize that he was going to be rebooting the Disney Bonkers cartoon in the Marvel comics, because Bonkers is a cop, and that seems like bad timing.
Well, he'll go up against the Punisher, or maybe Luke Cage. We'll see which way it goes.
Ooh, that sounds more exciting.
Bonkers. Yeah. Absolutely. I think, you're right. The engagement was not great.
No.
2,337 likes. Oh, another one came in while we were talking. That's good.
Oh, wow. Congrats. Yeah. Good.
Way to go. No, I can't do it like Twitter. It's surprising though, but what struck me is that, and I don't know if you had trouble with this, like you mentioned Etta Candy. So Etta Candy on Twitter says, when an accident grants Etta Candy superpowers, she joins forces with Wonder Woman and her sorority sisters to protect anyone in need. Okay. But if I go over to the DC website, I get a different description that notes that Etta joins forces with Wonder Woman, Amanda Waller, and her beta Lambada sorority sisters. So Wonder Woman and Waller in there as well. It seems like you'd want to have these descriptions be the same in both places.
That also sounds a lot more interesting when you know that Wonder Woman and Amanda Waller are going to be in it.
Yeah.
That's information I'd like to know as a voter.
I would think so. The one that also in the Robbins pitch, Robbins, which is winning, Robbins notes a small group is at Dick Grayson's apartment, but what brought them here isn't that they're all former sidekicks to Batman. They're being hunted by one claiming to be the first. Okay, so basically they're being hunted by the first sidekick. But in the description on the DC website, it's listed as, in the apartment of Dick Grayson, a group of young people meets for coffee, donuts, and kvetching between long, awkward silences. The thing they have in common, they were all sidekicks to Batman. Those feel like two radically different comics.
Yeah, and none that are terribly interesting.
No, not particularly. Well, we're recording this on the final day of the first round, so probably by the time it's up, put this up tomorrow, we'll get, it will be, that first round will be over, and we'll know some of our winners. Like you mentioned, we're going to learn about the creative teams sometime in round 2.
That's the worst time to do that, unless a bunch of these pitches don't have creative teams, and that's how they're covering it. Like, I don't know why you do that. I don't know why you have pitches for properties that you're finally relaunching. I don't know why you do Swamp Thing when we finally have a Swamp Thing comic monthly for at least 10 months or whatever it is. I don't know why you have another Amazon when there's 4 Amazons featured in comics now, between Justice League, Wonder Woman, the Wonder Girl Yara Flor running around, and Nubia getting spotlighted. Why you would have a 5th Amazon this year? It's April. It is April. Why you would do that? It's
a little strange.
Yeah, very, very weird. Why you're doing Jesse Quick when you're trying to push Jess Chambers is beyond me. You put all this behind Jeffrey Thorne on Green Lantern, make it a big deal that this is a Jon Stewart focused book, and you do Green Lanterns. Again, I don't know why you announced that like right when the first issue of Jeffrey Thorne's Green Lantern is coming out.
Okay. Yeah.
Robins. This is the first time we're having a Robin ongoing in a while. I don't know why you have a Robins pitch right now.
It seems strange. Yeah.
Yeah. We have what was it? Lobo Crush or Crush Lobo or whatever series launching,
starts in 2 months.
Yeah, and there's a Lobo book. This is terrible. It's unbelievable how misguided this all is. And then on top of all of that, you also have stuff like Paws Off the Justice League competing with things like Swamp Thing and Lobo, Animal Man, Scorched Earth. It's like going to DC fans and being like, we're going to vote on a movie to see what the fans like the most. Is it going to be Teen Titans Go or Joaquin Phoenix's The Joker?
Yeah. No, I agree. It did have that feeling of Disney kind of running a poll. Would you like Frozen 3 or Hellraiser as our next property? It seems very odd, but maybe some of the answers to your question. So on the final day of voting, by the way, I should take a step back and say the voting. Where did you vote? Did you vote? Where did you wind up voting?
I voted for all of them on Twitter the first day. And then I voted for some in the Instagram stories when I remembered, because they work differently there. And by voted, I mean, I didn't necessarily vote for what I wanted because it was very confusing. And you sort of click and your vote's already done because your cursor was over something. So, the voting here, it's and I mean, people do that all the time on Twitter. You accidentally vote for the wrong thing and you can't change it. So this is
Did you find it confusing? So Instagram stories were timed.
Yes.
I think they say that you did 3 a day.
Yeah,
but there were how many pitches? 8 different matchups, right?
Yeah, there were 8 matchups. So I guess one of them ended up just being 2. I don't know, unless they did a final one, which was just like, is this a good idea? Yes or no?
It seems strange that that it was broken up that way, and there wasn't really a time for these Instagram stories, but the Twitter voting was open the entire time.
Yes,
and so there were on the final day of voting. DC did say that there was a live Q&A if you had questions about it, but you couldn't go back and change your vote. But they did answer some questions with some important things, like, for example, they revealed that the winning pitch is getting a 6-issue miniseries,
which is weird because they just straight up lied in the initial tweet, which was a new comic book series. Would have been really easy to write limited or miniseries instead of new series.
Yeah, it's not too many more words.
No.
Yeah, that seems a little strange. Some people are expressing some irritation of the way the matchups took place and some other things. DC noted that never let us say we don't give you anything as their answer. So
wow, that's that's terrible. What an awful answer. That is you do not say that.
Yeah, I like one person asked, didn't ask really, just said thank you for letting the fans choose something. And then one of the answers from DC was absolutely Marie Javins, of course, senior editor at DC, once accidentally pitched an excellent series called Booster Gold's Garage Sale. It never went anywhere because it was a joke, had no plot, and I was the only one who wanted to read it. I think about it daily. That's their answer.
Daily? Like every day?
Well, yeah, that. Somebody complimented them on letting the fans pick, and so they noted that Marie Javins pitched Booster Gold's Garage Sale that was a joke and had no plot. No one wanted to read about it, but they think about it daily.
It's
a strange answer.
That's not if that's the kind of stuff you're thinking about daily, I don't know if you should be holding down a full-time job.
It doesn't really answer the original question nor paint it really in a good light.
And also, why would you try to make the new EIC Marie Javins look foolish by telling that story? That's a very weird thing to do.
The other thing that notes, somebody asked a question, hey, what happens to the losing pitches? Do they go into the vault for future Tales from Ambush Bug or what? And the answer is we've got so many good ideas with what to do with these pitches that don't advance in the rounds. These are all labors of love.
Again, not a few things. No, that is a lie on every level. These are not labors of love. People would like to get paid for their work.
Yes, they would.
And these are corporate properties that are not owned by these people. So no, it is not a labor of love. And it's infuriating that someone thought that was an okay answer.
So somebody asked, how did this happen? Who's responsible for this? They say, why did you decide to do this? What led to this idea? And the answer is this was originally something that came out of Marie Javin's brain. Again, it feels like they're throwing Marie under the bus here.
They really are.
Then Jim Lee added the bracket component. And Team GPI, I'm not entirely sure what that is, built it into what you see today. And then they said, I wish I could have stacked the deck so that all of their pitches lose. But hey, I'm a fair leader. I'm not sure what that's referring to exactly.
No, this is why add the brackets? The brackets are some of the most. I mean, God, this is
Jim Lee's idea, I guess.
Oh God,
does this mean one of the pitches is Jim Lee's? I kind of wonder. I mean, did Marie pitch some of these? She pitched the Booster Gold's Garage Sale thing, so. But
Jim Lee, are they trying to say that Jim Lee rigged it for what he wants? That's a very weird answer.
It's very strange. But then some other people ask about the Legion of Superheroes and the Justice League. It has nothing to do with the actual survey. And then there's I want all the pitches I worked on to exist. So it's weird. Some of the people answering the questions appear to be people who actually did the pitches here, but those people being the people answering questions are Liz Erickson, Katie Kubert, Andrew Marino, and Michael McAllister.
Okay.
So some of the pitches came from them, I guess. They have over 40 years of working at DC combined.
All right.
Yeah. Then there was this. There's been some controversy, right, over this, particularly about Justice JLQ.
Yeah, that's what we call an unforced error.
Yes. So what JLQ is going up against Robbins? If you look at the voting of all this, there most of the voting is sitting around 20,000 to 22,000 for each of these pitches, with the exception of the Robbins JLQ, which is at 40,000, pretty much double everything else.
Yeah.
Now Robbins is winning, and there's still a day left, so anything could happen. I shouldn't. If I was more clever, I'd insert some voting machine joke here, but it's going to be very hard for JLQ, I think, to win. It's down by 9 points, and that is the equivalent. I mean, it's going to need like roughly 4,000 votes more just for it. And to your point, that's going to be hard to do because most people don't wait to vote till the end.
Yeah, no, most people have already voted if they're going to vote.
So, what is why are people up? Why? I mean, this seems. Who's upset by this? Is it right wing trolls that are angry about JLQ, or is it angry Robin fans? Like, why are people angry about this? Do you think?
I mean, I think anyone that cares about comics is frustrated by those. I hate this. It's the most disgusting kind of pandering. And I mean this in the sense that the way they went about this makes it, and the way that they've been reinforcing it from like other people in comics and even people within DC who have promoted this, are making it sound like the only book you will get queer representation from in this lineup is JLQ, and that's horrible. There should be multiple books here that have some form of queer representation. And the fact that they are billing this as, if you want queers, you can only pick the book that has queer in the title, is such a gigantic step back, especially when it's only young queers. And again, this is another thing where there's a lot of ageism involved. There's a lot of clearly trying to target the 20-something queer demographic. Premiering, they tried to make people care by talking about a Dreamer, a character who hasn't been in the comics yet, and Aqualad, who's only very recently been identified as a queer character. That's not a selling point. You can't go to comic fans and be like, you really need to vote for this thing. It's got a character we decided was queer pretty recently and another character who's never been in a comic before.
What's strange is that in the Q&A, somebody brings up the inclusion of Justice League queer in this competition. The question is basically, it's being regarded among us already as one of the most highly anticipated pitches. Queer communities have been marginalized within these spaces for so long. Why basically would you put it in against Robbins? Asking us to vote on an ambitious queer title such as this one can feel aggressive.
Ambitious?
Well, yeah.
What's ambitious about making up a bunch of characters and throwing them on a team?
So why was it decided to pit Justice League Queer for survival against these 15 other titles? And the answer that comes back there seems to be a dim recognition that this was kind of, to your point, DC writes, we're thrilled with the fan response. And then they say DC currently publishes LGBTQIA plus characters and storylines in comics like Batman, Harley Quinn, Suicide Squad, Far Sector, Wonder Woman, Action Comics, and more, which seems to indicate that they're aware that there's already representation in those comics. But then they continue to say, for JLQ specifically, the volume of votes and personal notes all send a great message that fans want to see a pitch like JLQ succeed. So stay tuned for news about where you might see JLQ appear in the future, which seems to indicate that even though it will lose in round one, you're going to get this comic anyway. What kind of message does it send to do a tournament where the fans are supposed to pick the titles, and as you say, is stacked in the weirdest possible way, but then because this one got attention, half of which was negative, again, not from right-wing trolls, just negative of like, why was this even in here, like the original question.
More than half, it's losing.
Yeah,
it's losing by a substantial amount.
It is.
It's not going to win, folks. I'm sorry, but
no, it's not. But the answer we're basically getting is you're going to get it anyway.
Yeah.
So what is the message here that you should just complain a lot about all these? Like, what if you like the Etta Candy pitch, because that's also going to lose?
Are they trying to also? Are there no other queer, like, without knowing these creative teams? It's like, are you implying that the only way we're gonna get queer creators is by voting for this? Is it a queer creative team? Is it an exclusively queer creative team? I joked with you before, like, oh, everyone wanted Justice League queer, which is weird because it's just straight white guys, and you voted against Robins, which was an all queer team.
Yeah,
that's it's like we don't know. Are there no queer Robins?
Well, I mean,
what are they trying to tell us?
We're told they're in every major title that DC publishes, but it's such a I mean, it's such a strange. This thing is odd, right? It keeps getting odder.
It keeps getting odder, and it keeps getting more and more frustrating. I am so frustrated with DC because, taking a step back beyond the contest,
yeah,
if you like, the whole point should be to streamline the books. Everyone kind of thought, oh, we're getting things back on track. It's going to be about the comics. We're going to have a somewhat smaller line that, you can just pick up comics and read and enjoy DC. But every moment you turn, you're getting sidetracked and pulled in one direction or another. I cannot express to you how frustrating it is, because it's like, okay, great. We got new people in there. A leaner, tighter ship. We're going to do this. So we're relaunching titles. But first, we're going to have a bumpy, uneven future state. Cool. Okay. Now we're going to announce a bunch of offshoot things. Okay. So you're trying to make this a more even, easy to access line. Meanwhile, you had to get through future state to get here. Now, there's also a lot of push for original graphic novels YA that don't tie into this. There's also a push for Black Label, and don't worry about that, folks. That has nothing to do with the main line. Oh, and by the way, we're also going to announce a bunch of miniseries and Elseworlds things that don't tie into this. The Batman, what was it, the Dark Detective or whatever they were doing. So we're doing that. And we also have stuff tying into video games, like Batman Fortnite. And, we did Deceased and some other things. So we have all these like moving parts here that we just keep announcing. And also we keep announcing all these anthologies that I don't know if they're in continuity or not, whatever, but we really care. We care enough about continuity to reset these books. And most of them are number ones, except when we don't think it'll benefit from being a number one. So we keep some of the higher numbering, and some of these things are in anthologies, and some of these books that weren't ever anthologies in the past are now suddenly anthology books. And there's no real price point. You just get there and you guess how much you're going to spend at the counter, because it can be anywhere from like $3.99 to $9.99 depending on the book. And all of this is happening, and your head's still spinning, and you're like, I don't know what the hell they're doing. And then they're like, oh, here's a round robin competition. It's such deep incompetence to do this.
I thought that part of the goal of coming out of December and kind of this new fresh start and a slate was to make it simpler, easier for fans to want to jump onto this DC train and just enjoy it. Yeah. And it feels like you said it was self-imposed error. Is that what you said?
An unforced error. It is. They somehow made it more difficult to buy DC Comics than ever before.
I don't understand how in the world this is the output. And again, several of the questions here are questioning like, hey, I'm a big fan of Night Runner and Etta Candy and Jesse Quick. Are we going to see these characters somehow else? What happens with these things that lose? And the answer is, you never know when a character will pop up in the DCU. If we were to tell you that they're going to show up soon, that would give away plot points. You wouldn't want us to spoil it. I think that's called solicitations, but okay. And then they go on with this is DC's round robin, not, hey, we're here to spoil everything and take the fun out of it. But it feels like that's exactly what's been done.
Yeah, this is a joyless nightmare. It is, and just the constant barrage of new initiatives and new things. They're also relaunching Milestone, which, again, great. In a vacuum, that would be great, but you can't keep track of everything because it's like, oh, they're doing Milestone. Right. Oh, wait, they're announcing more digital exclusives. Oh, wait, they're not digital exclusives anymore? I can buy the physical copy. Oh, wait, no, this is just going to be a physical trade, but this is going to be after it's done, but these books are going to be digital exclusives that are now digital same day. And, it's, what are they doing? This is a nightmare.
And the promise is that, in all honesty, we have plans for all the pitches that don't advance to the next round.
What does that mean?
It means we're going to get them all anyway. Maybe.
But and also, it's like, okay, you guys decided Vertigo couldn't work anymore, so you made it Black Label, and now I have weird omnibuses that are DC Black Label, that the interiors are DC mainline, and that eventually go into Vertigo Comics. That's not called a Vertigo book, it's a Black Label book. So there's 3 imprints in one omnibus, and things like that. Now, they tried to streamline things, which is that's what I thought, like, oh, Black Label, they're just going to streamline it, just be this one thing. But now it's like, okay, so we're doing all these other things, and like the amount of imprints and things, it's like exploding again. And it's like, what the hell was the point of getting rid of Vertigo if you're doing all this stuff anyway?
Well, so another question points out, hey, given the number of votes being considered, such as the JLQ Robbins pairing, twice as many votes as any other pair, that signals that DC fans are really clamoring for a groundbreaking and history-making ongoing queer series.
That's not what that is. That's so shitty to call it that. I hate it so fucking much.
I don't understand. I thought Twitter votes were absolutely on the level and non-sarcastic and legitimate. Nobody. Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah. Also, I don't get that argument. Like,
plus, it's a 6-issue series we're getting.
Yeah. Also, you could make the argument that people hate this idea so much that they're coming out of the woodwork to vote against it.
Yeah. So
by a large margin. By a large margin.
The interesting thing. So they say, well, why don't you just count the number of votes rather than who wins by percentage? And the answer is kind of puzzling. As for the number of votes counting toward voting, if we were holding a regular vote for the next series, then sure, that's how it would work. But we are a competitive bunch, so the bracket structure gives us a chance to add stress to everyone's life each week because it's all about the drama.
I saw how much pizza Chris Conroy was eating last night.
God, we do love seeing the fan reactions and listening to what people are clamoring for. It's one of the reasons we did this in the first place.
What? I've never heard a single fan be like, what I really want is a Twitter vote to see what 6-issue miniseries that I didn't get to have any say in what the pitches were is going to be.
Well, I mean, finally, as more and more people kind of ask the same question over and over, they state clear out, the first round bracket was created randomly. We love each and every single one of these ideas. And while there only be one winner of DC's round robin, we will figure out how to give a home to all these wonderful ideas. So I guess the answer is all of these comics are going to get done.
Why bother having a contest that people aren't that excited about? What in the world is even. And again, it's like we don't know when the next Aquaman comic's going to happen, and they're doing this. We don't know if there's going to be a Justice Society comic, and they're doing this. There's no more like really announced like Sandman universe comics, and there's going to be a Sandman Netflix show.
Yeah,
but this is happening. There's what?
It is puzzling. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
There isn't a Doom Patrol comic here or anywhere, and there's a show that's happening. The third season is happening, and with no signs of there being a Doom Patrol comic. None.
It's well, I don't know what to, very quickly before we because I think there's no I think both of us are trying to get to something that makes sense here, but I don't think we're going to find it.
No, I don't think so. And it's crazy. I mean, some of the names of people that are working on some of these pitches, like what Ryan North and Phil Hester, I think were two of the people.
Yep.
Like, what are they doing? They, Phil Hester gave him a pitch, and he's like, I've worked on and off in places like DC for over 30 years, and I sure would like a new pitch, and could use the money. And DC, what'd they do? They were like, that's great. Let's see if Twitter wants you to get a paycheck. like what? It's up to Twitter? Oh my God, I have bills. And it's like, well, I hope you got a big following and can retweet this a bunch, or else I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Like,
well, the voting closes in the next few hours. Wednesday closes tomorrow. It just closes Wednesday. No, I guess hang on. It closes at midnight on Wednesday. So there's still a day and change. Round 2 is going to be on Twitter. Round 3 is going to be on Twitter, and then round 4 is voting on DC community, not on Twitter. It doesn't look like Instagram is going to be involved in round 2 or 3, but who knows? Right now, Green Lanterns is beating Etta Candy by a healthy margin, by more than 50%, or just under 50%. I take that back. Zatanna is beating The Brave and the Bug. Lobo Animal Man has a sizable lead over Son of the Creeper. JLQ and Robbins has, at this point, it's a shrinking lead. So JLQ is up to 46% to Robbins 53%. So it's
53.9 to 46.1.
Yes.
So yeah, it's not going to be enough.
It's a sizable amount, but it is shrinking. We're seeing through the day. I think they're making headway. Jesse Quick is beating Paws Off the Justice League. Blue Beetle is handily beating Night Runner. And then I guess the only two really competitive ones that are within a point are Swamp Thing versus Suicide Squad 7, and Astra, The Last Amazon against Superman and Lois Ignition. Do you have a favorite in either of those, or do you care at all?
I couldn't care less. This is pathetic. And again, people are acting like with JLQ, that if you ever want to finally see a queer person ever printed in a comic for the first time, you better support this book. It's baffling to me. It's baffling that they're pushing this. Meanwhile, you can't get a reprint of Flash 53 from Bill Loebs and was it Greg LaRocque? Yeah. You can't get that in a trade of when the Pied Piper came out. You can't get any single work that Rachel Pollack ever did at DC Comics, because not one issue of anything is reprinted. You can't get the vast majority of Caitlin R. Kiernan's run on The Dreaming featuring Echo, a trans character. You can't get Maddie Blaustein's Death Wish. You can't get Ivan Velez's Blood Syndicate. I believe they might be reprinting some of that in a compendium of Milestone stuff, but not the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate people talking about how we need to support this, and they're not supporting the people decades ago that broke this ground. And, you can't get Linda Medley's comics. There was a trans woman and a non-binary person telling stories about a trans superhero in the 90s, and not a single issue of that is in print. And then you turn around and say, oh, you better, put all this, you better support, JLQ. It's like, what is wrong with you people? I don't understand this. It's offensive. It's, why not do it all? Why not try to help the people that came before, instead of putting stuff out like this? Like Midnighter was successful with Steve Orlando on the title, and it wasn't called Midnighter Queer, or Midnighter and Apollo Queer. It was never called Batwoman, she's a lesbian. It was just Batwoman.
I think that Midnighter would have beat the living shit out of somebody who called him Midnighter Queer.
Yeah, where's so Midnighter isn't worthy enough to be in something that's not a backup right now. But you can vote for Justice League Queer. Same thing with Batwoman, can't get her own title. Renee Montoya.
Maybe they're both in Justice League Queer.
They can't be because they're old. They're all young queers. They might show up eventually to give a thumbs up and be like, we're really proud of you. We were cowards that got nothing done as queer people in decades in the past, but you kids are revolutionizing everything. There's no Renee Montoya the Question, another popular character. Nowhere to be found. There's no pitch for that. You couldn't have done in this round robin out of 16 pitches. There wasn't a Renee Montoya pitch. There wasn't an Alan Scott Green Lantern pitch. If you really want to hammer that home, there wasn't something like that. There wasn't a Midnighter and Apollo pitch. There wasn't a Batwoman pitch. There wasn't a, like if we're doing this, there wasn't a Pied Piper pitch. There wasn't a, like we're not going to bring Coagula back with Doom Patrol or any of the other queer characters from Doom Patrol. Nothing.
Well, we just brought Obsidian back to life, so you got that.
Well, what about Poison Ivy? What about a Poison Ivy pitch?
I don't she's not really any fans, from what I understand.
Yeah, no, Twitter hates Poison. No one on Twitter would vote for Poison Ivy. Yeah, exactly. It's like there wasn't room for that. It's mind-boggling what they're doing. It truly is.
It does seem like seizing defeat from the jaws of victory.
Oh, yeah. It's what about Hawk and Dove?
Sure.
Where's Hawk and Dove? There's so many things. You're just looking at this like, why wouldn't you try to do something with these characters? It's like Hawk and Dove's in a live-action Titans show. Yeah, and you can't read a Hawk and Dove comic. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. It's strange times at DC. But Joe, thank you very much, and I guess we will stay tuned to the winners.
Yeah, here's hoping something good happens. I love DC. I've spent an obscene amount of money on DC comics over the years, and an obscene amount of time reading them. I'm
with you. I love DC. I love the comics that have come up. Legion remains one of my favorite books of all time. And people accuse me of being a shill. I really enjoyed the Jeff Thorne Green Lantern that came out. Mm-hmm. He proved a lot of his critics wrong. That's good stuff. I don't know why you would voluntarily stumble into this. And whoever's in charge of kind of writing some of the responses here, like don't do that again.
I don't get it. And there's so many other characters. Like, where's a Starman pitch? Sure. Where's Shade the Changing Man? Where's Sandman Mystery Theater? Like there's all these things. It's like, this is I I don't get it. I don't get what they're trying to do. And the constant barrage of new ideas and initiatives. It's like, I feel like every week I'm going to turn around and they're going to be like, and here's another surprise, like 3-issue, blah, blah, blah about this, but this is in another universe and not the main universe. So if you're a big Earth 4 fan, you're really going to, it's like, just please, I am begging you, make it easier to buy and read DC Comics. It's never been harder. Never. How did you make it this hard? Make it easy. Make it easier to be a DC fan. We didn't even get to, Sean Murphy's separate White Knight continuity on top of all the other continuities.
Yeah.
It's so incredibly confusing, and it's never been more confusing. Please, I am begging you, make it easier to be a DC fan. We don't even know what universe these miniseries or the one miniseries that's going to happen is in. Is this in the linear verse? Is this Earth 2? We don't know. And it shouldn't be this hard.
They're in the linear verse, which means this 6-issue series is going to comprise roughly 8 seconds of story time. So that's great. It'll be a wonderful time. Joe, thank you very much. And hey, everybody, go vote. Or don't.
Yeah, get ready for round 2, whatever's going to be in that. Maybe they'll add more things in round 2. Who knows? There's no logic here at all.